Hello everyone and welcome to our Tech Tuesday tutorial number 51. Today we explore a new feature in Google Spreadsheets, the checkbox. So Google recently added the ability to insert checkboxes into spreadsheets. Yeah, it's in the insert menu. You just click on the cell you want, go to insert, choose checkbox, and there you go. It works. That's it.
You're still here? It's over. Go home. Go.
Oh, wait, would you like to know more? You mean you want examples and explanations and all that stuff? Alright, well hold on then. Okay, well checkboxes aren't new. They're one of thousands of special characters that you can use in many ways, and we might have to do a video on that sometime later. And you can call them, if you know the right character code, by using the formula char, or car for character. And so this is what it looks like. You simply put in the formula equals char, and then you put in the value for it. The checkbox is 10,004 and the X is 10,006. So if you put in this formula there, you get this. You can actually copy this and then you can go in here and paste special and just choose to paste the values. And you now have this check mark as an actual character. You can even put it in a sentence. And so you could do it in a way that basically you could set up a form where you put these values in cells and tell people to copy paste them so that they can instantly put in checks wherever they need them, right? That's the old way of doing it. The problem is it's not very interactive. It requires people to copy paste. It requires formulas and stuff like that. It's really nice to be able to just go in here and say insert checkbox. But the thing is, the checkbox now that they give you is not just a graphical checkbox. No. If you look carefully, you'll see that the formula line up here has a value that says true and then false. So what this is actually doing is inserting a true-false value and using a graphic to demonstrate it, and the box reacts to a click, which is all new. And it means that you can actually make forms and spreadsheets and stuff like that that are much more user-friendly than they used to be. Okay, so this is all well and good, but examples are really helpful because it kind of gets the imagination going. So here's one. Let's say that you have a checklist of things that need to be done in order for something to clear. In this case, 3 different criteria for a student to be able to go on the field trip. They need parental permission forms, they need to actually have cleared their schedule with their other teachers, and they have to be passing your class. In this case, I want to simply just put in some checkboxes. Great, insert checkbox. I can even copy paste this to put it into multiple fields. Good. And it reacts to clicks, and that's fine. But it would be really nice if I could get this thing, a big yes or something like that, to appear in the column when all 3 of these are checked. Well, there's a lot of different ways you can do this. It all just depends on how you use your formulas. But here's one. So what I did with this one was I wanted it to only say yes if there were 3 check marks in the area, and that means all 3 of them have been checked. Remember, a check mark is an actual value of true or false, depending on if it's checked or not. So in this case, I did a count if and determined if it was true or false. And then I nested that within another if then. But what you could do is you can simplify it. So let's say we make a field here called count. And I'm going to say, so this is equal to count if, and count if, it basically counts how many of these things meet a criteria. So if you type in count if parentheses, it'll say it needs the range. The range is the area that it's going to evaluate, right? And then you do that and you say, what's the criteria? The criteria is if any of these things is true, right? So then I would just say true. So 3. Good. So that counts 3 things that have met that criteria of true. I then do another logical test that says if this cell is equal to 3, then, comma, yes. Otherwise, comma, no. Now, if I'm putting in words here other than true, false, I have to actually put them in quotation marks. You'll see it lights up green and accepts that when I do that. Put those in quotation marks, done. And again, that kind of coaches you along. If you want to learn more about these formulas, you can see our other Tech Tuesdays that we've done. I'll put the link in the description. And so this is using 2 different cells, one to count it and one to check to see if that count is 3. You can do it this way. And then you can honestly just hide this. You can right click and hide that column. People will never see your work, so to speak, and they'll just see the results. What's cool about this is that you can just then select this here and then just paste it down, and it'll basically go ahead and, extrapolate the formula, and then you can hide that. So at that point, let's see if this works. Yep, that's a yes. These are not yeses yet until we get all three yes, and then we're good to go. Okay, so here's a second example, and this one looks complicated at first, but it's actually just one function repeated several times. In this case, I wanted to be able to check a box and it assigns points. And if I check a different box, it assigns different points. So what I did was just a basic if-then statement 3 different times. So first, in the formula, I put in if B6 equals true, then 4 points. Otherwise, check if C6 is true. And if it is, then 3 points. Otherwise, if D6 is true, then 1 point. Otherwise, 0. So you see that these are just kind of nested in there, and then I close them all up, the 3 of them at a time. So we can do that pretty easily. So in this case, this was a rubric taken from another sheet, and I just pasted it in here and started working. So I can go in here and say, let's insert a row below that. We're just going to go in here and insert a checkbox, and then we're going to copy that. Great. Now we might take this and we might merge this field. Great. And then we're then going to start our formula. So equals if B8 equals true, then 4, otherwise if close for all 3 of those. All right, let's test it. Yep, 4 points. Now here's the thing, here's the bug. If I check more than one, it doesn't work. It only takes the one that's on the leftmost score, because remember, it's checking it in order. So okay, slight little bug there that we could get rid of with more advanced formulas, but let's keep it simple. So this is it, and it will score it. If you just go in there and properly check, you're good. All right, example number 3, and this one's pretty dang cool. Basically, what you can do with this is you can actually check a box here to include different things in a chart. So how does this work, right? I actually got this off of a website, and I'll credit that link in the description. You can kind of see that. But basically what they do here is you have a chart, and then kind of off to the side here, you actually do a formula that's a query formula. Now, a query formula basically just says, report everything from this range where this is a value. So it's saying, give me a query, give me everything that's in the range A1 through G6, A1 through G6 here. That's this whole box. Where G, column G, is equal to true, because remember the check mark is true or false. And then you put that in there, and the one is just I won't get into it. But so now it basically will report that here, everything where that value is true. Well, the reason why I do that is because this graph is not of this chart, of this table, it's actually of this one. So it's dynamic in that only the stuff I check shows up here in the graph. So really this graph is more related to this, you see, and it's only showing the items that are here. But I managed to get a dynamic table to show up simply using the query formula, and that's it. But for all intents and purposes, this looks really cool, whenever someone's just taking a look at it and saying, I only want to see this data, this school data, this student, whatever else. Okay, so this one's actually pretty cool. Let's say you wanted to create a to-do list, or you wanted to have something that styled it a certain way if you checked off the box. The way you would do this is using conditional formats. And we've covered that in another Tech Tuesday as well. But in this case, I would select this. And you see that the conditional format here is set to some sort of weird little formula. C2 equals true. Right, so let's try this. This is it in action, by the way. So let's try this with the other ones here. I go over here to format and choose conditional formatting. And instead of any of the ones that are in the menu, I go all the way to the bottom and say custom formula. So I'm going to select all of this and do a custom formula that says equals if $C, you have to put $ on this, just trust me. If C5 equals true, then how do I want it to look? I will say, let's go through that, and let's also make it strike through. Sounds good. In fact, maybe I want to be more positive. I want it to look green with a strike through. Done. So now, if I check this, there you go. Simple as that. Right, so the final example I have is actually kind of putting a few things together, and this is just a sample little quiz that you might run where you may want to allow students the ability to check to see if their answer is right. So basically what this does is whenever they check this, it shows the answer and then shows a hint and so on. In this case, you can do that for paragraphs or anything else you want to do. If you only wanted to show the hint, you just would get rid of this column. These are separate. They're independent of each other. So you can either show the answer or show a hint, whatever. So basically the formula here is simple. it checks is C4 true, right? And if it is, provide this, that's 10 to the 4th power. It actually does the math for you, or you can just type in the number. Otherwise, provide nothing, right? So if they uncheck it, it's done. The hint works similarly, and it basically says, if C4 is true, then return this string. So you put in quotation marks, power of x multiplied by itself. So that's a hint. Otherwise, do nothing. All right, so that was a bit more in depth, and you asked for it simply by sticking to the video and hanging in there with me. I appreciate your patience and your interest and curiosity with this. You can really do a lot with this simply because the check mark becomes a very easy true-false binary thing that you can do with a simple click, and your average user doesn't have to know much about that to make this stuff work. So I hope you all enjoyed this video. I hope you found it useful, and if you did, go ahead and click that like button. Heck, why not support us and click that subscribe button? If you are on YouTube, click that bell for notifications so you get notifications every time a video comes up. Give us some ideas for Tech Tuesdays. Put them in the box below, and we'll see you guys in the next video. Bye-bye.